We did good. This is her debut novel. That's crazy. Without further ado, let's get situated and let's get right into it, okay? Hello, book besties. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Bailey, and I like to read a little bit, just a little bit. We've got our iced coffee in hand. We are sat and seated. I've got a stack of books over here because you know what time it is? It's time for our September wrap up. Every book that I read in September and what I thought of them and if I would recommend them, all of the vibes, okay? So because it's fall, my hometown coffee shop got rid of the honey lavender iced lattes. I'm so upset about it because that is my favorite, but I understand it's seasonal, whatever. So instead I asked the barista to give me something that is the same sweetness level, and she gave me some kind of like whiskey something iced latte with oat milk. I don't know. All I know is that it's good, it's not too sweet, it's not too bitter, and I like it. Oh, that's so good. So on that note, we are energized. Are you energized? Are you ready for this? I read 9 books in September. I really didn't think I was going to hit anywhere close to that because I think we were halfway through September and I'd only read like 3 or 4 books. The thrillers are what really got me going. They got me out of like a slight reading slump. Without further ado, let's get situated and let's get right into it, okay? I started out the month with a book that has been highly anticipated for me because Miss Maddie loved it so much. It is My Friends by Fredrik. There were scenes in this that really hit. To me, this is a story about depression and how it affects different people and how one decision can change your life, which I feel like is a theme with Fredrik Backman's books that I've read so far. I say that like I've read so many. I've only read 2. I read Anxious People and now this one. So like this line right here says, because in an ugly place, he was born with so much beauty inside him that it was like an act of rebellion. In a world full of sledgehammers, his art was a declaration of war. Are you kidding? I have noticed that Fredrik Backman's books are very lyrical and very surprisingly beautiful in the way that he says things, but then also funny and like lighthearted. And I really like that. This is the story of a young girl who has just lost her best friend. She's an orphan. She has nowhere to go. She's not going back to her foster home. She's about to turn 18. And there's been this piece of art that is on the back of a postcard that she took whenever she was younger that means the absolute world to her, okay? And she decides at the very beginning of the book, she decides she's gonna go see it in person, whatever she does. Well, she ends up running into someone outside of the gallery where it's being exhibited, and that changes the trajectory of her entire life, and it goes from there. This made me very emotional. This is about depression and overcoming things and how the world shapes you and all of the things. Really enjoyed this. I rated it 4.5 stars. I do think you need to be in the right headspace in order to read it. I was at the time, and I really took my time with this one. I think it took me like 5 days to 7 days to go through it because I really just wanted to feel. That was the first read of the month. So after that, I was like, you know what? I need to dive into my spooky season TBR because it is in fact spooky season. So I went into Salt and Broom by Sharon Lynn Fisher. This is on Kindle Unlimited. This is a witchy Jane Eyre retelling. It's very short. Now, I have not read Jane Eyre. Shocking, I know, I need to. I think it's like the ultimate gothic classic, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. So I didn't know anything about Jane Eyre going in, okay? So this follows Jane, literally, like her name is Jane Eyre, and she is kind of witchy. She gets invited, well, she gets told she has to go rid this, whatever's going on, this bad energy, there's something going on at this estate, Mr. Rochester's estate. And so it's like historical, but it's also a romance and it's a little bit witchy. I rated this 3 stars. Would I still recommend it? Maybe. I don't know, because the events in this book don't take place over a long period of time. And so the romance didn't really make that much sense to me. At some parts it was very drawn out. At some parts it was very rushed. I just wasn't in the story, you know? And I love a witchy book. I love a witchy book. I just don't think that this one was quite for me. It was at some points. That's why I rated it 3 stars. But at others, it just, I don't know, it was mid, you know, it was okay. And then I read one of my favorite books of the month, okay? One of my absolute favorites, so much so that I had to buy a physical copy of it. It is on Kindle Unlimited. It is Necromance by Cora. I loved this book. It was right book, right time. This is a gothic, historical, haunted house kind of vibe. Basically our FMC in this one, someone approaches her, she's a witch, and they're like, hey, there's something attached to this house and bad things are happening and I wanna sell it. So I need you to get rid of this bad energy so that I can sell it. And she's like, hey, I'll take your money, let's go. When she gets there, she realizes the house isn't actually just cursed. No, it's literally possessed. But the curse that is there is attached to the Duke that is stuck in a painting. You hear that, right? He is stuck in a painting. He is a phantom. She gets gets him out and she's like, hey, I'm gonna help you fix this because something's not right here. So she's trying to get to the bottom of it. He lost his memories, so he's no help, essentially. They're trying to figure out how to get his memories back, what's going on. This is creepy spooky. It's very Halloween vibes, but I was listening to like spooky gothic vibes, ambiance music while I was reading this, and it fully immersed me. Yes, it did. I got a little bit scared. I'm not going to lie. But the man in this book, this man was down bad. I loved this MMC. I liked the FMC. I loved the MMC. The yearning was there. Okay, I rated this 4.5 stars. It was close to perfect. I feel like if it had been longer, it would have been perfect. This is a really, really good gothic romance that I highly recommend for this season. 4.5 stars. I freaking loved it. And then we went into my least favorite book of the month. I was very highly anticipating this read. Let me tell you what it is first. Hello, Bailey. People Watching by Hannah Bonham-Young. I read Out on a Limb like 2 years ago, I think, and I rated it 5 stars. I loved that book. That book made me think twice about not liking the accidental pregnancy trope. I love Hannah Bonham-Young's dark humor that she has. So I went into People Watching thinking it was gonna be like that. I think where I messed up was my expectations were too high. They just were. It's like a small town romance, okay? In our FMC, she is in her 20s and she has not experienced life because her mom has Alzheimer's. Basically, she has spent her entire adult life taking care of her mother, helping her father run their grocery store, so she's not living for herself. And Milo, the MMC, he comes into town with his slutty mustache. I loved his slutty mustache, I will say that. And he's like instantly obsessed with her, whatever. He says he's gonna help. He's a runner. He runs away from his feelings and she's inexperienced. And so it's kind of like a friends with benefits type of thing starting out. You know, she wants to learn. It was more lusty than it was romancy. You know what I mean? Like it was very lust forward. I don't know. I feel like that's a weird thing to be picky about, but you know, I love a slow burn. I do. The FMC got on my nerves a lot. And the MMC, he also got on my nerves. It wasn't for me, but I did love his slutty little mustache. Okay. I rated this 2 stars. I wish I would have loved it more, but here we are. After that, I went straight into a thriller because I saw the Housemaid trailer coming out for the movie in December. And I was like, you know what? If I don't read this book now, I'm not gonna read it after I watch the movie. I'm one of those. If I don't read the book before I watch the movie, I won't ever read the book. I read The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden. Loved it. I did not expect to love it as much as I did because I've read 2 other Frieda McFadden books, and that is Never Lie and Ward D. Never Lie is still my favorite book of hers, I will say. But The Housemaid is now a second favorite. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I don't wanna say too much about it because I feel like with a thriller, it's really easy to accidentally give something away, so I'm not gonna do that. But I will say after reading the book and then watching the trailer back, I am excited. A couple of things in the trailer didn't look like how I pictured them, but a lot of things did. So that's good. That's a win, I would say. So if you haven't read The Housemaid, if you don't know what the book is about, if you don't know what the movie's gonna be about, basically our FMC Millie, she needs a job. She needs a job badly. And so she interviews to become this family's housemaid. Well, she gets the job, it's a live-in position, but things are weird. So Nina, the wife, the one who hired her, she is acting very strange, and so is her daughter. Millie doesn't know what to make of it. She's just like, I have to keep this job. I need to keep my head down. I need to deal with it, whatever. She's desperate and weird shit keeps happening. So there's also a gardener that's really hot. So there's that. But I rated this 4.5 stars. A thriller, 4.5 stars. I know. Crazy, but so entertaining. I was glued to the page. I read this in less than 24 hours. I started at like 8 p.m., went to bed at midnight or so, woke up the next morning, finished it. Loved it. Loved it. And then I went into my only 5-star of September, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about this. It was The Magnificence of Death by Rainwater. This is perfection. I could not put this down. Genuinely, I didn't want to. I love these characters. So basically, if you liked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I think you're gonna like this. This is way more romance focused. Let me tell you like the essential plot. Okay, so our FMC Astoria, she comes from a long line of women. Their family name is Tempest, and they are cursed. All the women in this family are cursed. Whenever they hit 22, their curse activates, and the curse is different from person to person. So like one person, their name is forgotten forever. Another person can't tell a lie. They have to tell the truth at all times, no matter how brutal. Astoria's curse is a little different. She's immortal. She cannot die. But not only that, she can affect the balance of life and death herself, which gets her into a very sticky situation with Death himself. He realizes what she can do and he comes a knocking. I guess he does. He's like, hey, that's not allowed. No, you need to break your curse. And she's like, no. And so she goes on through her life and he keeps showing up whenever she is affecting life and death, the scale, the balance. And it's become kind of like something that Death looks forward to in a way, but he's also like, hey, stop. And so eventually she agrees to let him help her break the curse, and it goes from there. So romantic. This is yearning. This man, where's the line? Oh, I found it. I told her forever was a long time, but I never explained that. It wouldn't be enough. Not for me, not for us, not when she'd somehow burrowed her way inside of me. This man yearns. This man, oh my God, he's so emo. He is so emo. Well, of course, he's deaf. Of course, he's gonna be emo. This ending was perfection. It was just, it made you feel. This book made me feel. It is beautifully written. There's an audiobook coming for those of you who only do audio. I really do recommend reading it during spooky season or during the winter, at least. It's just one of those books. It gives that vibe. I love this so much. If there's ever a special edition, I want it so badly. And you're telling me that this is her debut novel? That's crazy. That is actually insane. I loved this. And the cover, it means so much once you've read the story. You will understand what it means once you've read it. I love this. Oh God. If you take one rack from this video, let it be this one. Let it be this one. It is on Kindle Unlimited. I'm obsessed with it. I think she may be an auto by author for me from now on if they are all this good. So highly recommend. 5 stars, perfection. The next book that I read was a flop, I fear. It was our book club book of the month, Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. I had very, very, very high hopes going into this book. Not because I'd seen anything good, but because it sounded so good. This was marketed as a YA version of the Atlas 6. I could see why, because there's 6 different POVs, it's in an academic setting, you know, that kind of thing, except it takes place in the underworld, like the in-between. I can't remember what they called it in the book. It's the in-between life and death. And there's a school there, there's this thing called the Decennial, and it's this competition, and the person who's competing at the end, if they make it through, they get to either ascend in a way, which essentially just gives them power, they get to be alumni at the school, that kind of thing. If I remember correctly, because here's the thing, if I don't like a book, I'm not gonna remember everything about it. Or they can choose the other option, which nobody knows what happens whenever you choose it. This decennial in this book is different because multiple students are competing, but things are weird once they all start competing. There are things that people aren't remembering, yada, yada, yada. All of the characters in this book, there were so many different POVs. I think that was one of the issues I had with it. I feel like it was just very chaotic. Whenever I would start getting invested in one of the characters' POVs, it would switch and we wouldn't get them back until like 2 to 4 chapters later. And I feel like it just kept me from being fully in it. You know what I mean? Like it just kept jumping around. I didn't really get invested in the plot until about 75% through. I rated it 2.5 stars. I didn't have a great time. I wouldn't recommend this personally. If this sounds like something that you would like, I do think you should read it. Let me say that real quick. If I ever rate a book low, that does not mean I don't think you should read it. It's just that I wouldn't personally recommend it. Reading is very subjective. Just because I didn't like a book doesn't mean you're not gonna like it. So take it with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. Didn't really like it that much. 2.5 stars. Could have been done better. Will I read the second book? No, I won't. I thought about it after I got invested finally towards the end, but ultimately, no, I don't think I'm gonna read the second book. So this was a letdown, but that's okay. Then I dove into another thriller because I was like, you know what? Maybe this will make it better. I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This was my first Riley Sager book. And The Only One Left, it's like 80s Maine, kind of spooky vibes. So our FMC Kit, she gets a job taking care of Lenora Hope. Lenora Hope is like, everybody thinks that she is a murderer. She's a rich woman who years ago was accused of murdering her entire family, her sister and her parents, but nobody could ever prove it. So she never went to jail. Now she's bedridden, okay? She can only move her left arm. Her brain's still all there, but the rest of her body is not. So she needs help. And so Kit, she is a home health nurse. And so she comes in and she's like, I'm gonna take care of you. But as soon as she gets there, you know, of course she's gonna be a little spooked, a little freaked out because in this town, that's all she's ever heard, that Lenora is a murderer. But Lenora ends up wanting to tell Kit her side of the story of what happened with a typewriter. So she helps her type it up or whatever. Things are not what they seem. I rated this book 3.5 stars. I had a very good time with it. It lost me a little bit at some points, but ultimately I did enjoy this. I would recommend it. I saw a lot of things coming in The Only One Left. There was one plot twist that I did not see coming, and that one did get me. If you want a spooky, kind of gothic thriller vibe book, well, not thriller vibe, it is a thriller, I think you'd like this. The final book that I read in September was The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. Now, if you'll remember, I read Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier last month. I really, really liked that book. So I went into this one thinking I would like it just as much. You guys, I rated this 3 stars. I would recommend it, but with a caveat. And that being, if you want to be in the mind of a terrible, terrible human being who is a serial killer and a sociopath and a psychopath and all of the above things, then yeah, read it. I did not know going into it that we were going to have that POV, and it was very, very disturbing. Good for a thriller, but like, oh my God, it was rough. So in this book, we get 3 different POVs. We get Sam, whose mother was murdered by the butcher, the serial killer. We get Matt, who is Sam's boyfriend, and he is a chef, and he has anger issues. And then you get Edward, who is Matt's grandfather. The butcher is a serial killer who got caught years ago and made Edward Shank's career. Or so they thought, because now there's a copycat, the Butcher 2.0, who is killing again. And somehow they are all involved. I feel like if this had been written a different way, I would have enjoyed it more. I just did not expect to be in the mind of a serial killer. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that at all. But I did like the book. So I rated it 3 stars. It was entertaining as a word. That is not the word I would use, but I was in it. That is 9 books. That is all 9 books. It was a really thriller heavy month, I'm realizing. I read like 3 thriller books. And we had 1 5-star, quite a few 3 or under, but that's okay. You know, maybe October's gonna be better. We will see. If you take any recs from this video, highly recommend these 3. Okay, the ones I have physical copies of ended up being the ones that I loved the most. Actually, I had already had a physical copy of this one. I didn't of these 2, but I loved it so much, both of them, that I had to get physical copies. I was about to go back and see if I read everything on the TBR, but here's the thing. Just realized I didn't do a September TBR because I did a fall spooky season TBR instead. So we did good, guys. We did good. I am knocking books off of my spooky season / fall TBR, which if you know me, you know that I read those books all year round anyway. So those are just like the ones that I want to get to. Maybe this season, maybe in the rest of the Burr months, who knows? 9 books read in September. It was a great month. Now, what was your favorite read of September? I want to know. Did you read any of these in September too? Did you? Tell me, please. Anywho, I am very excited for what October has to bring. I'm very scared. My husband picked my TBR. If you haven't watched that video yet, you should, because it's a scary TBR. There are 8 books on it, and some of them I have been putting off for a very, very long time. I hope that everybody has a great reading month in October. I hope you have a great month in general. It's spooky season, guys. It's gonna be a great month. It's literally October. I am getting off topic. I need to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you guys so, so much. I hope you all have a great reading month, and I will see you next week.